Mr. Krabs seriously needs to be locked up. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 reasons Mr. Krabs should be arrested. Think you know Nickelodeon? Click here to sign in with your Google or Facebook account and take the new trivia quiz on WatchMojo.com. It's pretty hard, but get it right and you could win a collectible box from Culturefly, loaded with exclusive Nickelodeon toys, accessories, and apparel. Click here or follow the link in the description.
Okay, bye!
For this list, we'll be looking at the best of Mr. Krabs' unsavory moments. Number 10. Breaking and entering. Mr. Krabs is going through a midlife crisis, and misguidedly turns to SpongeBob and Patrick to make him feel young again.
Are you sure this is what the kids are driving these days?
So they take him out on the town. But the wild night Mr. Krabs was hoping for turns out to be pretty mild. That is, until Patrick lets him in on the final activity of the night, the panty raid.
Oh yeah.
As if stealing a poor, unsuspecting woman's underpants isn't bad enough, the three climb through a stranger's window in the middle of the night. Or who they think is a stranger.
What are you doing with my bloomers?
This one doesn't land Krabs behind bars, but at least he gets a good old-fashioned grounding from his mother. Number 9. Stole secret Krabby Patty formula and framed SpongeBob for it. Everyone knows how top secret the Krabby Patty formula is, and over the years, Mr. Krabs has been very intense about the protection of the secret ingredient. So naturally, he trusts only his most loyal employee, SpongeBob, to pick it up. But when the secret ingredient is stolen en route, Krabs blames SpongeBob for the theft. As it turns out, it was Krabs all along who staged the theft to avoid paying the delivery fee.
Gradient, Eddie.
Am I to understand that you stole the item in question?
Well, I wouldn't call it stealing.
This time, Mr. Krabs actually does get arrested, and he faces a punishment worse than jail. He's forced to watch as SpongeBob gives away free Krabby Patties for an entire day. Number 8. Forced his employees to work 24/7 with no breaks. Apparently, labor laws are a bit lax in Bikini Bottom. Otherwise, Mr. Krabs would definitely be locked up for the way he treats his workers.
Wow! That's more than I make in a year.
It's already bad enough that he pays them next to nothing. But when the Chum Bucket opens its doors 23 hours a day to compete, Krabs decides to keep the Krusty Krab open for 24 hours, working SpongeBob and Squidward to the bone.
1,320.
Day 23! Give it up for day
6,654.
Though SpongeBob was initially excited by the prospect of non-stop work, after 43 days of working 24 hours straight with no breaks, SpongeBob and Squidward, as you can imagine, are driven to madness.
I told you that shirt was hideous.
Number 7. Counterfeiting. Mr. Krabs' most defining quality is his unparalleled greed. He'll do anything for a pretty penny, literally. So it's not really a surprise when Mr. Krabs finds an alternative use for his printing press. Mr. Krabs decides to start selling his own newspaper, the Krabby Chronicle, forces SpongeBob to write lies about his friends by threatening to take his spatula, and keeps the money for himself.
I don't think these stories are doing anyone any good.
Well, they're certainly doing me some good.
As if that wasn't bad enough to land him in the clink, when the sea creatures of Bikini Bottom find out, they demand their money back. But Mr. Krabs realizes that his printing press can be used to print fake money. Talk about finding a silver lining. Number 6. Grave robbing. In Mr. Krabs' newest money-making scam, he holds a garage sale with the trash he's collected.
I understand you're selling this rare novelty drink hat. Fresh out! Let me explain.
After finding out that a soda-drinking hat he sold SpongeBob for $10 may be much more valuable, he goes to great lengths to get the hat back.
I'm a ghost!
He even scares SpongeBob with the ghost of the hat's original owner. SpongeBob does return the hat, but to the original owner. So Mr. Krabs digs up the grave of the original owner and steals the hat right off his corpse.
I got the $1 million hat!
Hey man, that's my hat.
Mr. Krabs might not have gotten arrested for this crime, but he was certainly haunted by it. Number 5. Sells his own workers. After eating a foul Krabby Patty, Mr. Krabs suffers a near-death experience. Facing Davy Jones's locker, Krabs decides to turn his life around and be generous.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Krabs. I thought you were a cheap old tightwad.
I was, son, I was!
But as it turns out, Mr. Krabs is only acting less thrifty because he thinks the whole thing is just a dream. Upon realizing he is in fact awake, he reverts to his old ways, and the Flying Dutchman returns for him. In order to avoid eternal damnation, he sells SpongeBob's soul for the 62 cents in the Dutchman's pocket. Selling souls might not be a jailable offense, but there's probably a very special place in Davy Jones's locker for crabs like him.
But how could you trade SpongeBob for 62 cents?
You think I could have gotten more?
Number 4. Animal cruelty to jellyfish. Mr. Krabs already proved his vast disregard for animal rights when he took Free Day a little too literally at the zoo and stole a pearl from a clam that turned out to be its egg. Perhaps an even worse offense is when he abuses jellyfish to make special Krabby Patties.
More SpongeBob!
When Mr. Krabs discovers that customers are interested in SpongeBob's Jelly Patty, he decides to add them to the menu. But SpongeBob is appalled to find out the way Mr. Krabs is making so many Jelly Patties is that he basically created a jellyfish sweatshop wherein he squeezes them, stretches them, and juices them in a machine.
That's it, boys! Keep that gelatinous gold a-flowing!
Number 3. He tried to drive Plankton to suicide. Mr. Krabs and Plankton have been arch enemies forever. They both go to extreme lengths to defeat each other. But this time, Mr. Krabs goes way too far. When he discovers that Plankton is afraid of whales, Mr. Krabs does everything he can to exploit his weakness. He borrows one of his daughter's dresses so he can dress up like Pearl and torture Plankton. Plankton is tormented by nightmares of Pearl coming after him, and is convinced she's stalking him in real life.
That's it, I'm done. The 4:15 bus should be along any time now.
In an attempt to end the torment, Plankton tries to get himself run over. Mr. Krabs and Plankton have done many horrible things to each other, but this one is just sick. Number 2. He tried to kill Squidward. After he tries to sell a piece of Squidward's art, an art dealer tells him that it would be worth more if the artist was, quote, out of the picture.
Out of the picture, eh? I think I can arrange that.
The art dealer probably wasn't suggesting that Mr. Krabs go and kill the artist, but that's what Mr. Krabs heard. He sends Squidward on ridiculous deliveries with the hope that Squidward will not return. Krabs sends Squidward to Antarctica, Rock Bottom, and even Mars in the attempt to get rid of him. When that doesn't work, Mr. Krabs then tries to straight up murder Squidward with a mallet. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
What is this? You're making me pay you to stand at the cash register?
I can make him handsome again! Watch! See? He's getting handsome!
What about this towel from the sizzling spring sauna?
And this Bikini Bell phone.
Well, it's...
And Sandy's hedge clippers?
Oh, there,
And Plankton's lawnmower.
Well, he did...
Even Mrs. Puff's hair curlers.
That one was a gift!
Number 1. Attempted murder of a health inspector. It's surprising the Krusty Krab hasn't been shut down, considering Mr. Krabs' reputation for poisoning his customers, like the time he mass-produced the Pretty Patty, which turned all of his customers different colors, or when he sold the Spongy Patty that made everyone sick and spongy.
Mr. Krabs, what have you done?
In fact, the only time a health inspector comes to check out the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs nearly kills him. Thinking he's a fake inspector out to get free food, SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs serve him a disgusting burger that they think kills him. Then, realizing he's the real deal, and believing he's dead, they try to dispose of the body.
His head's sticking out!
Sorry, Mr. Krabs. I thought he might need some air.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.